Recently, our economy has undergone a profound and fundamental change. It can be traced back to the late 1990s, when our economy went from one driven by manufacturing and led by large corporations to one driven by technology innovation and led by entrepreneurs. Economist Robert Atkinson tells us that all of our net economic growth up through about 2030 is going to come from entrepreneurs and their innovations being applied to traditional industry around the globe. So in the grocery industry, for example, the creation or advent of in-store scanners was a huge advancement for the grocery industry. And when they were able to put these into the stores, the productivity and the efficiency associated with the grocery stores went way up. And at the same time, we shed tens of thousands of grocery store jobs associated with pricing and checkout. And innovations that are being applied across industry, we're not limiting it, as you can guess, to just one innovation per grocery industry. And so there are lots of innovations that grocery store owners are choosing from to adopt into their business models. Kroger's, for example, just rolled out into some of their stores a mobile app that allows the shopper to go down the aisles, pick something off the shelf, and scan it right there on the spot with their phone. And when they're done shopping, push buy and be done. No hands, no people at all. Now, some of these innovations are profound and very clever and have the potential to change industries in ways that we consider to be somewhat disruptive, hence the new term disruptive technology. A good example of that is in the transportation industry and also in the hospitality industry with Uber and Airbnb. Uber is a mobile app. It is a technology that allows people who need a ride to seek out someone nearby that has a car and is willing to ferry them for a fee. Uber is less than 3,000 days old, and it is currently valued at somewhat north of $60 billion in value. It is the highest valued startup on the face of the planet. Uber claims to have 162,000 subcontract employees and says that 50,000 people every single month are joining them as subcontract drivers. Conversely, the taxi industry in New York and in other parts of the country where Uber operates is in terrible distress. In fact, the largest taxi cab company in New York City filed for bankruptcy last year and bitterly said at the time that he filed that the sole and only reason for his demise was Uber. Now, Uber is a good upstart technology company, and what is not in question here is whether a technology startup has the right to challenge a traditional business model, because after all, this is America, and we are capitalists. However, what is at issue is whether Uber had an unfair competitive advantage to get into the marketplace because they did not have to abide by the regulations that the taxi industry must operate under. And those are the questions of the day. And those questions come back to all of us, economic developers, city planners, elected officials, and even the entrepreneurs themselves, to find wise and forward-thinking solutions that help guide us into a strong and healthy economy going forward. These are not easy questions. For every Uber, Airbnb, Lynx, and all of the other new technology startups that are out there, there are 100 more in the queue waiting to roll out and be a part of our local and regional economy. It is not wise for us to ban them. It is not wise for us to try to enforce old regulations on them. So how important is all of this? It's very important. In fact, a Dutch scientist just 12 weeks ago, I think, released information that he had 3D printed hamburger that was not discernible from hamburger derived from a live cow. He used beef stem cells. He was immediately surrounded by venture capital and predicts now that he will be in supermarkets in Europe with a specialty hamburger by 2020 and will be in regular supermarkets across Europe and in the United States by 2025. What does that mean for Iowa? We have a lot of choices going forward about how we handle the new economy, and it's important that we make these choices clearly and carefully. And some of the innovations that are emerging across the world are not necessarily ones that are very far away. Uber and Airbnb were created by people in California. They were American, but they were Californians. And of course, our Dutch scientist is overseas. But there may be the next technology innovation to change the insurance industry at the Global Insurance Accelerator in Des Moines, here in Iowa. Or there may be an entrepreneur sitting right now at our co-work at Gravitate who's had a eureka moment and is about to burst with some fabulous new technology innovation. We don't know, but we do know that we need to attract and serve those entrepreneurs and create a place where it is viable and promoted for them to try to be the innovators that they are so good at doing. Our future is very, very clear, and there are many best practices around the world that will help us understand how to guide these entrepreneurs as we make our way into this new economy. We just have to start the conversation.